All right, and welcome back today, fantastic first graders. We are on our fourth day this week, so we're almost there. I hope you had fun playing that game yesterday with your grown-up or another person in your home, and you were able to collect all those cubes and get to 5 cubes before your partner was. So just a reminder for our number corner calendar, we are looking at some objects that you might see in your home or at school. Excuse me. And we are trying to figure out, do these best represent a sphere, which many people refer to like as a ball? Do they represent a cube? And remember, a cube has square faces on it. So all of the sides that are connected make a square. Does it remind you of a cylinder where we have a flat surface on the top that's shaped like a circle and a flat surface on the bottom? Or does it remind you of this rectangular prism where the faces on this three-dimensional shape are shaped like a rectangle instead of like a square for the cube? So let's take a look at our calendar. Now, the first day on our calendar, we had a peanut butter jar, and that jar reminded us of a cylinder because it had a flat, round surface on the top and on the bottom, so that reminded us of a cylinder. And then yesterday, we took a look at this box here of crayons, and we realized that because we could see a rectangular shape on the front and a rectangular shape on the side, that must be a rectangular prism. Well, let's take a look at today. Today is Thursday, December 3rd. That's actually my brother's birthday. And if we look at these grapes, it might be kind of tricky to think about which three-dimensional shape that whole bunch of grapes is. But let's take a look at just one grape. So when we look at that one grape, what 3D shape does this remind you of? Does it remind you of a sphere, a cube, a cylinder, or a rectangular prism? Let's think about that. What do you think it reminds you of? A sphere, the one that's kind of like a ball. It's round, there are no edges or corners on it, and it has those same properties that we would see in a sphere. So we would say that this grape reminds us of a sphere. Let's take a look and see how many days we've been in school. Can you remember how many days it was last time? Oh, there it goes, popped up. 67 days. So if we were looking at 67 days, and we're going to add 1 to that, what is 67 plus 1? 68. Excellent. And we're just changing the one side because we're not adding a new group of 10. And this 6 right here means groups of 10. 6 groups of 10. And we don't have another group of 10. We just added to our ones. Let's take a look then, and we're going to add our day to our chart here. So if we were counting by tens, we would have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and now we have to count on by ones. 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68. So 6 groups of 10 and 8 ones. How many more till we get to our next group of 10? You're right, there's 2 more. 1, 2 more, we make it to our next group of 10. So when we had 6 groups of 10 before, how many groups of 10 are we expecting when we get 2 more? Whoa, not 70 groups of 10. The total would be 70, but it's only going to be 7 groups of 10. 7 groups of 10 equal that 70. All right. So let's head back. And as we're going back to our slideshow, I want to make sure that you have your materials with you. So when we get ready for math, it's really important that you have your dry erase board, marker, and eraser. You also want to have your pencil and your math folder that has your packet in there, just in case we could use some of those materials. So if you do not have those materials, like something to write with and something to write on, I want you to pause the video right now and go get those so you can participate in our math learning today. All right, looks like everybody's unpaused me and we are ready to get going. So today you're going to be able to add and subtract groups of 10 using a number line. You'll know you're successful when you can solve some equations correctly during our small group today. So as you can see, we are really focusing on students being able to add groups of 10 and subtract groups of 10. The goal for first grade is that you can do this mentally, meaning in your head, without having to use that number line. So we're practicing a lot this week using that number line. And as we go through first grade, we will start being able to do it without the number line and just knowing the pattern of when we add groups of 10 or when we subtract them. So let's review here. We have our 2 number lines, and let me get my face out of the way. There we go. We have our 2 number lines. I want you to think about, what do you notice with our top number line and what do you notice with our bottom number line? Let's check out some observations. So this gentleman says, well, the top one counts by ones and the other one counts by tens. How many of you saw that in your observations? Great. The little girl says, well, 40 equals 4 tens, and 20 equals 2 tens, and 60 equals 6 tens. So she's looking kind of at that first number, that when we get to 20, we take 2 jumps, or it's 2 groups of 10. And the little boy at the bottom says, well, 4 plus 2 equals 6, and that's kind of like 40 plus 20 equals 60. And he's right. When we count by ones, we just have that single digit at the top. And when we count by tens, we're just adding those groups of tens together. So when you can solve 4 plus 2 equals 6, you can solve 40 plus 20 equals 60. So let's practice a little bit. It says Polly was on 0. She wants to catch a bug. She hops to 30, but the bug flies away. Then she hops 30 more. Where did she land? So I want you to take a second to figure that out. She hops to 30, the bug flies away, then she hops 30 more. Where did she land? So go ahead and, using your board and marker and sock, I want you to do that math problem. And if you need to use the number line, you are welcome to use it right here on the screen. So she hops to 30, the bug flies away, then she hops 30 more. So she starts at 30, and it says she hops 30 more. So we're going to be doing 30 plus 30. So we have, here's our 30, and we hop 10, 20, 30. What's my answer, everybody? 60. Now I want some of you to think about that. Remember that observation that some people made that 4 plus 2 equals 6 is very similar to 40 plus 20 equals 60. So if we take that idea, we could say, well, we have 3 plus 3 equals 6. Or 30 plus 30 equals 60. Exactly. So as we go to our next one, I want you kind of thinking about that to see if that will help you solve the problem a little bit easier. Go ahead and erase your board, and we'll go to the next one. All right, so here it says Tad was on 0. He wants to swim in the pond. He hops to 60. He hops to 60. Then he hops 40 more. 40 more. Where did he land? So go ahead and on your dry erase board, I want you to solve that problem. He hops to 60, that's our starting point, and then he's going to hop 40 more. You can use the number line you see on the screen, or you can solve it in your head, or some people might count by tens for 40 more. So we have Tad starting at 60, so that's the first number in my equation. And then he hops 40 more, so I'm going to put plus 40. And I can hop it, or I can count by tens for 40 more. I'm going to hop it this time on the screen, so I'm going to hop 10, 20, 30, 40, and I landed at 100. Now, some of you might have used the strategy I introduced a little bit earlier, where I said, well, you could do 6 plus 4 equals 10. So 60 plus 40 equals 100. All right. So now we're going to look at subtracting, because not only do we have to be able to add our groups of tens, we have to be able to subtract. So take a look at our two number lines where they are subtracting, going backward. Our number is going to be getting smaller when we subtract. What are some things you're noticing about our frogs? The top one is doing 6, take away 2 is 4, and the bottom one is doing 60 minus 40 equals 20. What do you see? Let's take a look. So the gentleman on top says, well, one counts backwards by 1 and the other counts back by tens. So a very similar observation to our first one, except instead of moving forward, we are going backward. The girl says 60 is 6 tens, 20 is 2 tens, and 40 is 4 tens. So she's kind of breaking it down and saying, well, if I have 60, it's just 6 groups of 10. Or if I have 40, it's 4 groups of 10. Or when I have 20, it's 2 groups of 10. And so then the little boy says, well, so when I can do 6 minus 2 is 4, I can also do 60 minus 20 is 40. You got it. So let's practice. Get your boards ready. We're going to practice again. This time we are subtracting. So remember, you can subtract, move my face there, you can subtract by using the number line right here on your screen. You can subtract by using that same knowledge that boy had, that if I can do 6 minus 4, or 6 minus 2. Then I can do 60 minus 40 or 60 minus 20. Or some of you might count backwards by tens because we've practiced that as well. So it says Tad was sitting on the 100. There he is. He's ready to go on the 100 for us. He made 2 hops back. 2 hops back. So he starts at the 100. We would write 100 on our board, and we're taking 2 hops back. Now, are we just taking 2 away? No, we're counting by 10, so we're taking 2 groups of 10, which is 10, 20. So we're subtracting 20, not just 2, 20, and find out what your answer is. 100 minus 20. All right, so if I'm doing 100 and I'm doing 2 hops back, I could do it in my head. I could say 100, 90, 80, for those of you that can count backwards by tens. I might go right here to my screen and jump them back 10, 20, and I land at the 80. Or some of you might have said, well, I can take 10 minus 2, which equals 8. And so then I can do 100 minus 20 equals 80. All right, let's take a look at our next one. All right, there's Polly. It says Polly was sitting on 80. She made 3 hops back. 3 hops back to see Tad. So where did she land? So on your board, we're going to write that subtraction equation. She's starting at 80. She makes 3 hops back to see Tad. Where did she land? So we're starting at 80, so everyone should be writing 80. And she takes 3 hops back. Now, are we subtracting 3? No. We have to subtract 3 groups of 10. So we've got 10, 20, 30. We're taking away 30 to find our answer. So go ahead and use the number line on the screen to help you count backward by 30 or 3 hops. Or you can do your subtraction mentally and how you can count back. And some of you are going to take a look at, well, if I can do 8 minus 3, I can do 80 minus 30. So let's take a look. We have 80, and we're going to jump back 3. 10, 20, 30, or 3 jumps, and we land on what? We land on 50. And that makes sense because if we did 8 minus 3 equals 5, 80 minus 30 equals 50. Or you could have counted backwards. Put 80 in your head. 80, 70, 60, 50. That's our 3 hops backwards. Nice work. All right, during our small group time, you will need a pencil, and you're going to be looking at page 23 from your student workbook. We used this page a couple days ago in our small group, just as kind of a number line so we could do our jumping on it. But today we're going to actually write some equations and then show our work. So just a reminder, we found out that both of our packets say student book on the bottom. but we're going to look at the top part. And the top part will either say Bridges Mathematics or Number Corner. This is not Number Corner. So we are working in the other booklet. So when I see you today during small group, you should know pretty well how to solve a problem adding by tens or subtracting by tens. And you'll have page 23 and a pencil ready to go so you can complete our activity during small group and show me what you know. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.